And so with the creation of that space, I have found that I have started to bring more of my vacation into my everyday life, because sanctuary is found in the placing. Now, great men in the Bible, they had a place. That is why they had such wonderful relationships with God. Moses had a tent. It was called his tent of meeting. That's where he met with God. Daniel, he had his spot. It was his upper room, like his apartment, by his window, and he would go there to pray 3 times a day. And Jesus always had a place. You know, it's always talking. It didn't define it for us, but it says like he went up on a mountainside to pray, or he'd go to a solitary place. But Jesus always found a separate place. You know what encourages me so much about that is that Jesus never went on vacation. You know, the one that God loved more than anyone else, his own son, he didn't give him a vacation. And yet he still lived in sanctuary, because sanctuary is found by creating place. I read a little story about Susanna Wesley. She's the mother of Charles and John Wesley. They're the founders of the Methodist Church. She had 19 kids. 19. That woman had no time, and I'm telling you, I know she never went on vacation. And it said that when she needed a sanctuary space, she would sit in a chair in the middle of a kitchen and just throw her apron over her head. And her kids knew never to disturb her when she had her apron on her head. And she created a place to talk with God in the middle of what must have been a very chaotic time. She did that all the time. I love that story, because sanctuary is found in the placing. Whether it's an apron or your dirty closet or wherever it is, it's in the place. And finding my own sanctuary is a lot about finding out who I am and what matters to me. So I like the dim light. My sanctuary space has to have dim light. Like I said, my husband thinks I am crazy. He thinks I live in a cave. My bedroom does not look like a cave. It's just, I can pull the shutters when it's kind of too bright. I love that stuff. I like blue. That's a big deal. Defining these things has helped me to create my sanctuary space the best. And I think you will find, too, that your own sanctuary space either will or does, if you all have it right now. Sometimes I've had it and then I've lost it. So think about where you are right now. But it defines your own unique way of doing life with God. So maybe you're a night owl, and the place that you like to meet with God isn't even available during the day. But if you just keep your stuff in your bag, then when night hits, you can take your stuff to your place and have your time there. Or maybe you are an outdoor girl, and so your porch or your deck really does it for you. And we finally, this year, built a deck. We had one of those little things, and when they took it off the house and we laid it in the yard, my daughter goes, "That looks more like a life raft than a deck." I'm like, I know, because we haven't been able to put any furniture or anything up there. It was teeny. But we built a deck, and so now, in the summertime, because I can't do it in the colder times, but I go out there, I get to grab a quilt, and I grab my bag, and I go sit on my porch. And again, 15 minutes makes a huge difference in my life. Now, maybe your place is your car. Older people tell me their place is their car. I, again, with all my children in my car and with lots of Skittles and lots of goldfish, that's not a sanctuary feeling for me. There's no way in heck that feels like a sanctuary. So again, I turn on K-Love when I can, or I put those cards. I have big packing tape because Scotch tape doesn't work, and I take my verses or whatever kind of line that God is saying, if it's from a devotion, and I slap it right there on my steering wheel or right by my radio. And I'm a visual person. That's why my surroundings have made a difference to me. Now, you might be really tactile, and so it should be cushy and comfy, and there is nothing wrong with that. Or you might be auditory, and so what you hear really matters. And I found that it matters to me more than I thought. I was out of town a couple of years ago, and it was a very hard situation. I was with some hard people, and there was no getting out of this, and I was struggling. And I kept trying to find a sanctuary space, but there wasn't a way to do that. Sometimes it's really hard when you take yourself out of your normal routine to do that. And then in the bathroom one day, because I kept asking God, where's the sanctuary? Where's the sanctuary? I was putting on my makeup, and he just kind of prompted me to put on my headphones with my music, turn on some Chris Tomlin, and there, while I was like blow drying my hair and putting on my makeup, it felt like a divine, that's true, but a defined sanctuary space. And it made a huge difference in how that week ended for me, because I was able to experience the presence of God in a place.